Hi guys, welcome to HRL Season 6 Wildcard Round number 2, Dimidium, Moto 2. Starting order, we have Sector on the left, Shift on the right, Camby on the left, Armada on the right, Phil on the left, Hunter on the right, Opix on the left, Luke on the right, Detail on the left, and Real Deal on the right. Let's get right into it here for this second Moto. And we're green. Ooh, the Lewski's there. Already some drivers getting really wide. Armada with a poor start already. All the drivers get through the chicane clean. It's going to be a big gap for those front runners. It's going to be all about how these guys in the back, how well they can get through the pack, how fast they can do it. Oh, big fights here in the back through the double hairpins. Gonna be close here between Opix and Detail. Going into this stretching right-hander. Very close. Looks like Opix is gonna hold on to it. Ooh, a little loose for Phil. Opix is gonna slide out. And we're gonna complete the first lap with Camby in the early lead. Whoa, Shift, I think, maybe. No, that wasn't Shift. I think that might have been Phil lagging out. Camby with the early lead. Shout out to him. Camby and Hunter holding on the 1-2. Shift in third. And Detail in fourth, trying to stay ahead of Real Deal here. Won the last Moto. Detail needs to stay ahead of him if he wants a chance at the overall. Gets into the tires there. He's got to get by Shift quickly. He's gonna hit him with the crossover, and it looks like that'll be enough to take over Shift. Is Real Deal gonna follow suit and also get by Shift? He does quite easily. Camby and Hunter with the battle up there for the lead. Real Deal possibly getting down here. Oh, 3 wide battle here between Sector, Opix, and Luke. And Sector is just all over the blades. Gets really ludskis badudskis. And we have like basically a 4 wide battle right there. And Opix is really going to lose out hard on that one. That is definitely Sector's fault. Rip Sector in the Yat. We got Camby first, Hunter second. Real Deal already trying to get by Detail here for third, and that is not what Detail needed. Oh my god. He really needed to stay ahead of Real Deal there. Cannot let him get in front if he wants a chance at this overall. And Real Deal and Detail both gaining on the front two very quickly. Camby just trying to fend everybody off. He would love to steal a Moto win here. And Hunter's going to go for the inside. Oh, Detail does too. Ends up getting a little loose. We could have had 2 wide battles. It's going to single out a little bit going into the final section. Hunter with a big dive. He screws up. Camby also screws up, and Real Deal's going to take advantage. He's already going to be going into the lead here very early into Moto 2, and Detail takes advantage of that as well. Detail does not want to give up much time here. He wants to get right back into that battle and see if he can take that spot. Hits the pole again, and that is another potential race ender there for Detail. Again, the pole action. Staying very close with Real Deal, but that pole might have him bite the dust again, because now he's got to get by Camby yet again, and then he's got to make up all that time and then pass Real Deal as well. And slides out on Camby. Detail going to fall back, now battling with Hunter. So it's not looking good. Real Deal's chances at the sweep in the overall are looking very good right now. Camby still trying to hold on to second here over Luke. Let's see how they go into the final section. Both running it pretty similar. Camby going to hold on to it. And Luke's going to try to make a slide move on Camby, but going into the chicane, going to back off. Ooh, little contact right there. Doesn't really affect. That's the thing with that chicane too. Those objects, for some reason, if you hit them, they don't really affect you that much. Like it honestly does not slow you down that much. Not as unforgiving as a pole. But it is getting very tight right here. Details involved in this as well. Luke going to try to get to the inside of Camby. Not going to be able to quite pull off the pass, but he's still there. It's going to be all about the next corner if Camby can hold on to it. But it looks like Luke's going to overtake him before they even get to the corner. And then Detail's just going to slide in hard, take that position away from him, get himself into third place. And Camby, I don't think he really cares about that top 3. I think he just wants to hold on to this top 5 if possible. Opix trying to work his way by Armada. Armada, with a pretty good starting spot, could have had a way better moto here, but he just had a horrible first corner, really, and that slide out really screwed him over from there. He needed to stay up front in the first corner, and Opix going to take that position away from him. Phil possibly going to take that position away from him. Yep, gets him into the chicane. Both drivers making hard contact with the barriers around the chicane, and Armada going to the back of the pack pretty rapidly with a just a really poor start for this second moto for him. Hunter had a really good start, but he's kind of fallen off, and now he's trying to bring it back, trying to catch up to Camby, get himself a 4th place. Opix also trying to work that. He finished ahead of Hunter last moto with a decent gap, but now we're going to have to see if he can actually work that gap and pass him this moto. Now that he's behind him, that's the interesting part of the second moto. You get some of these drivers mixed up and see what they can do. And it is getting close here for second yet again. Luke and Detail with some really good battles in both motos. And this is probably the closest battle on track, and it is for second place. So let's follow this one. Camby and Hunter also getting fairly close, so that could heat up very soon. We could see a nice battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th, honestly. Camby, Hunter, and Opix. I could see that getting really close by the end of this race. Detail going in hard. Hunter going in hard. Everybody trying to make gains, trying to have the best possible last round of the season. And Detail with just a really nice run through the final section. Gonna take the position away from Luke there. Take second place. But now he's still got quite a gap to make up to Real Deal, and then he's got to pull off the pass. Whoa, that was sketch. But let's see if he can gain this gap a little bit, stretch it out. Luke actually has a pretty nice corner right there, but not much room to do anything there. Takes that inside bump. Actually doesn't lose that much, surprisingly. Going into the hairpins. Really close, but Detail's going to hold on to that spot. Now Camby and Hunter is heating up. Hunter going to try to steal that 4th place spot. See if he can pull that off. In a lot of this wildcard night and just doubleheader nights in general, and this is going to be an important factor going into the grand finals, is stamina. The thing with doubleheader nights, it is so hard to keep your stamina up going through 2 races, because it doesn't sound like much, okay? But you got to think about it. We race, let's say it's a driver that makes it to the semi, does the most amount of racing possible. So 15 minutes of practice. So 15 minutes of practice, and then they qualify. Their qualifying takes, I don't know, let's just, average time. Let's just say 3 minutes, because it's usually a lot of lap time of as Hunter overtakes Camby there. It's usually a lap time of about a minute. I'd say a minute is the average lap time for a track. Plus you get a practice lap and then 2 qualifying laps, so it's 15 minutes of practice. A lot of drivers do even more than that before the race. You get 3 minutes for your qualifying. A heat race is 4 minutes plus a lap, so let's call that about 5 minutes. Semi ends up being about 4 minutes in our scenario. So that's already what? We got 9, 3 minutes qualifying, so what, 27 minutes there, and that's just warm-ups. And then we go to the motos, and that adds on to, it's going to end up being around somewhere between 51 to 55 minutes of just straight up racing there, including practice. If you don't include the practice, it's probably about 40 minutes of racing. But every driver usually gets in that practice time. So by the end of the night on a doubleheader night, you're going to end up doing, if you do both races, you're going to end up doing about almost 2 hours, at least an hour and a half, almost 2 hours worth of racing. And then we go to grand finals night, and you're going to be doing like 2.5 to 3 hours worth of racing. And that is a lot of racing to put in, and a lot of people don't really factor in, stamina into that. But it really does take some stamina to just keep grinding, keep going for the fastest laps possible, lap after lap, especially against all like the fastest drivers in the league. It takes a lot of stamina to do that, and I think it's definitely going to be a factor going into the grand finals, because you really have to keep it going throughout the entire event. Of course, HRL races are a little bit shorter. Some races or some leagues have, as we're going to 3 to go right here, 3 to go. Some leagues have really long races. Like they'll have one race that'll be a main event. That'll be like a 50-minute long race, not 15, 50-minute long race. And, that takes some true stamina. That is very hard to withstand. But HRL, it's a little bit more sprinty. There's a lot more, it ends up being the same amount of time overall, but there's a little bit more breaks, because you get the heat race, or you get to qualify, then you have a break. You get the heat race, then you get a break. Semi, then you get a break, and then you get the Moto 1, and then there's a little bit of break there into Moto 2. So HRL races end up being pretty long overall. It's just that there's a lot more breaks factored in. But the point is, at the end of the day, it still takes a lot of stamina to get through all these, especially for the grand finals next week. That's why I'm really bringing this up here, because usually I don't bring up that factor for a doubleheader. But I think it's important for me to bring it up here because we have grand finals coming up, and instead of a doubleheader, it's going to be a triple header. And drivers are definitely going to be worn out by the last race, and it is going to be a grueling last race, especially with how high the competition is. Like I said, the competition raises every single season. Every single season the skill gap gets higher and higher and higher, and these drivers get faster and faster and faster, and it gets just even more difficult. 2 laps to go. It just gets even more difficult every season. Wow, Phil with a cheesy pass there on Camby. And yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough grand finals, and definitely stick around. If you're not in the grand finals, definitely stick around to spectate it. I'll be streaming it. It's going to be a really fun event, and it's going to be awesome to watch all the best drivers go at it for 40 minutes on each one of those tracks. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a tough night, but we're really going to prove who can get it done. 3 races in a row, 3 different types of tracks, all back to back. It's going to be tough. It's getting towards the end of this race here. I think we're coming to. That was going on a tangent there. I believe this is white flag right here. Kind of lost where I was because I was going on a tangent, but real deal. All he has to do is get one more clean lap. Doesn't even really have to be a fast lap with the gap he has. He just needs to get in one more clean lap, and he will pull off his second sweep of the season here. That'll be the 5th overall, just in general sweep of the season. So that's the interesting thing about this season. I think we've definitely seen. I don't have the statistic for this for sure, but I'm like pretty sure that we've had the most sweeps in general this season compared to any other season. In fact, off the top of my head, I think the most sweeps in a season before this is 2. I think, and we're about to hit 5 here. So that's pretty insane. But yeah, Detail, as you can see, Detail really cut that gap down, but just not enough. It takes a lot to cut that gap down on this track. And getting to the final corner here, going around to the end, Real Deal is going to take the sweep here and his 8th Moto win of the season, 5th overall, and the championship. So there it is. Real Deal going to take the Moto win and starts lagging immediately after. So he literally immediately after hitting the line, he starts lagging. So he's really lucky that the race ended exactly when it did, because if it went one more lap, he would have finished 3rd probably. So there's the end of the race. Let's get those. Oh, they already crossed the line. Well, it ended up being the same, right? Yeah, it ended up being the same as it was. So let's get the results up on screen here in a second. But here's Real Deal. Congrats to him on being the HRL Season 6 regular season champion. We'll go do the statistics here in a second. But I want to get through the results of this moto first. So here we go. So there's your results. Both motos on screen. Overall results. Real Deal takes 1st overall with 34. Detail 2nd with 30. Luke 3rd with 28. Hunter 4th with 25. In a tiebreaker with Opix. Opix gets 5th overall with 25 as well. Phil 6th with 22. Camby 7th with 19. Tiebreaker with Armada. Armada gets 8th with 19 as well. Shift 9th with 16. Sector 10th with 14. Alright, so there you go. There's the results, and obviously the Moto 2 results there as well. So there's your results. Let's get the schedule on. Well, yeah, we'll go to the schedule here in a second. But let's go to the points first. So I'll do a little recap video on this, but you know, for this video, here you go. Here's the entire point standings, all the stats. Realdo is the champion with 317 points, ends up winning that championship with a 21 point gap over Detail, which again, I'm not going to compare it to previous seasons right now, but off the top of my head, that's a pretty, that's a pretty average. I'd say a pretty average points gap from first to second in HRL is probably like between 15 and 25, somewhere around there. It's usually not any more than that. But just a solid season for him with the 5 overalls, the 8 Moto wins, 3 poles, 5 heat wins, 4 semi wins, 17 podiums, 22 top 5s, and a position differential of 91 in the positive. That's just a solid season right there, really good stats. And then Detail with is, I don't know how many times he's finished in the top 3 in points. I mean, obviously he got the championship last season, so that's 1. Don't think he got 3rd in Season 4, though. But taking the runner-up spot here, silver medalist with the 296 in points. And this was close. This second, third, and fourth, really close. Look at this. Look at these gaps right here. Could not have been... Well, it could have been a little bit closer, but let's be realistic here. It could not have been any closer right here. And then some close gaps throughout the rest of the pack. You can look at all those, but yeah. Point is, congrats to Realdo in the championship, and congrats to Detail, Slaunch, Roman, Hunter, Vulcan, and Phil for making the top 8 cut into the grand finals. And then congratulations on Camby and Opix for earning those wildcard spots to also work their way into the grand finals. Especially congrats to Camby because, he got the wins. He got the win and you're in, but he also earned it in points. So if he had to, he could have just relied on the fact that he got an overall and a moto win, but he didn't. He kept racing, he kept grinding, and he worked his way there in points. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Screw off Opix. I'm taking this off screen. Anyways, see you later.